Located in Greensboro, North Carolina, this college has more than 13,000 students enrolled on campus, built on the 600 acres of area. In addition to this, college operates on 492 acres of working farm. Hello, I am Denaria Belton, and in today's episode, we will talk about preparing for college. Then we will discuss what life is like on campus. And finally, the dorm and fun life of college. Stay tuned for this and more on the episode of Dream Big, Dream College. Going away to college is an exciting time in the life of a teenager, finally making decisions on our own. Here to share with us what it's like at North Carolina A&T student Naya Waiters. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, what is any advice that you would give to a freshman?
It's a lot, but the most pivotal one I could give, honestly, is be true to yourself. Like, especially if you're coming from, like how we are in Lancaster, it's a small town, pretty much everybody knows everybody. But when you go off to college, sometimes you don't know everybody. So you really have to make a name for yourself. So it's just really stay true to yourself.
Okay, how do you budget? Because,
Well, hopefully somebody can tell me. Honestly, freshman year, I really did do good budgeting. Of course, I was still getting help from my mom and stuff, my grandparents. Honestly, make a list. Like if you do grocery shopping, make a list of stuff that you can actually cook and, prepare pretty quickly. Don't take a lot because depending on what dorm you are, you don't really have access to a full kitchen. And if you do, you're sharing it with maybe 30, 40 other students. So you kind of want to make sure you get stuff that can kind of limit your pots and pans or cooking utensils that you would need to use. So I'm trying to think of a really good one. Honestly, get in on Food Lion, Harris Teeter, those apps, and actually becoming a member. Getting on putting coupons in your list. That's really the key to budgeting. Knowing when your sales and deals are going on, go shopping at those times. That's about it.
So you said depending on what dorm you get, so you share it's a main kitchen or you get a mini kitchen in your room type?
Like I said, it depends. So it could be, now in most dorms, my freshman dorm, freshman year, we didn't really have a mini kitchen to ourselves. We shared a mini fridge. That was it. But we did like have like an area maybe like on the first floor where everybody could come in there if you wanted to cook, but it was probably maybe like one or two, actual full stoves and ovens that you can use. So it wasn't really like a full kitchen sink. Like you don't have a lot of space. It's like a room just so you can go in there and cook. But yeah, so we pretty much, like me and my roommate, we figured out like different little things. Like I would get like an electric kettle or something. So we did like cup noodles or oodles and noodles. Like, you hit that up so you ain't got to go downstairs to cook it. Or, you can use your microwave in your room too. But other than that, 9 times out of 10, you might not have the luxury of having a full kitchen. And depending on the policy that your school might have for your dorm, you might not be able to bring certain stuff like, hot plates and stuff. But I know since the pandemic has changed a lot of those protocols and policies, so they might be more open to you being able to bring more portable kitchen tools.
Okay. What is the way of making new friends? Because me, I'm antisocial. So
Girl.
I'm not going to talk to anybody. Any friends that I have, they come to me.
Yes. So it kind of goes back to the being true to yourself. Honestly, how I met my friends freshman year was completely random. 2 of them, how I met, well, of course, one of my friends was my roommate, and then another one was actually my roommate for orientation. So it was just like an overnight thing. So we wasn't permanent roommates, but that was my temporary roommate. My other friends, we literally met walking in the hall of our dorms. Like, one of them approached, she was like, y'all going to the lounge? We was like, yeah. She was like, okay, well, I'm going to go with y'all. So that was pretty much how I was able to meet my friends in a way. But, of course, really, it's stepping out of your comfort zone. Because I'm the same way. Like, I never really liked to put myself out there to talk to anybody. It was like, if somebody says something to me, of course, I'll say something back. But I'm not going to be the one to initiate the conversation. So, yeah, it's just pretty much, you might be going somewhere by yourself, like going to the student center, maybe even going to class or the library, and you just be like, hey, how you doing? Like, people just be open for conversation from there. But other than that, I really wish I had the actual key to know how to actually make friends. I'm still working on that. So,
how would you get to know the professor? Like, how would you get a relationship with your professor?
That's a good question. So pretty much a good way to get to know your professor is going to office hours, sending them a lot of emails, but not too much now, like have your boundaries, but, just checking in with them like, oh, I enjoyed today's lesson. Like, maybe even seeing them before class starts if they're in there. Like, sometimes your professor might get there a few minutes later than you. So, you might not be able to talk to them prior to class, but really the office hours, talking to them through email, that's pretty much the way you can connect more with them.
Okay. What is the biggest difference between high school and college?
The biggest difference for me, because coming from Lancaster, it was just the diversity. Like, seeing, even though you see a lot of more black people that look like you, it's still diverse. Like, we weren't all raised in the South. Like, everybody comes from different places, even from different countries. Like, I've had classmates from Mexico, Puerto Rico. It just depends. But I guess, I don't know, like really a solid answer to give you the biggest difference is accountability is the biggest difference. Like, in high school, you have your teachers constantly telling you and reminding you, hey, you got to do this, you need this turned in. Or even your parents, like, hey, your teacher emailed me saying you got to have this turned in. But once you get to college, you pretty much got to take that responsibility solely for yourself. Like, you got to make sure you put those reminders in your calendars, talking to one of your classmates to ask them, did you miss anything in class? But that's about the biggest difference.
I know a lot of people say, the 8 a.m.s are different. Like, how you come to school at 8, and then when you get to college, it's like the 8s, they don't match.
Because when you get here at 8 a.m., you still got a little bit of downtime to, get yourself together, eat a little breakfast. 8 a.m. in college means we getting straight to this work at 8 a.m. Like, my professor is really full-blown lecturing me right now. So it's like I have to be wide awake and trying to not fall asleep during the lecture. But yeah, that's a difference. But honestly, depending on the type of person you are, if you're a morning person, it really won't affect you like that. But it is a difference.
We all know, the HBUs have like fraternities, sororities, and things of that matter. What are some good things to get into as far as like clubs or things to join?
So yeah, good things to get into is like hometown orgs. Like A&T does hometown orgs, which are like the different states you might be from or regions. So I'm in South Carolina Aggie, so it connects me with other A&T students that are from South Carolina. So it might be, I think it's 3 in total, Lancaster, South Carolina Aggies that I know off the top of my head, but pretty much everybody else is from like Charleston, Florence, like different areas. So the hometown orgs definitely is the best like club, I could say, or organization that you could be involved in, because it connects you with people that's sort of from the same area as you, but not necessarily. So you do learn a little bit something different, and that's another way to help you make friends as well. Also, clubs and orgs that relate to your major or what you're studying or what interests you might have, like they have psychology club, business and economics, supply chain. So it's different clubs for every major and every study, and it's also ones for different interests and hobbies. Like it's a chess club, fashion, like it's a lot of options out there. So those are pretty much the ones I would say. So if you have an interest in singing, like there's a musical theater club and stuff like that you can join. So those are about like the best ones to get into. I myself, like the fraternities and sororities such as like, Omega Phi, like those, they offer those, but at the same time you can't really do too much about it. It's more about how they approach you. So I can't really give a lot of information on that because I'm still trying to learn that myself. So yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. When we return, we'll discuss the campus and fun life of college and students. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Dream Big or Dream College. Living on campus sometimes takes an adjustment, but can also be a fun time for students. Here to share with us what it's like on North Carolina A&T student Nia Waiters. Thanks for joining us back with the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us about the freedom of college.
Okay. The freedom is not having your mama and daddy constantly checking in on you. Like, it's really, if you choose to. Like, once I went off to school, I ain't gonna say I went buck wild because, I ain't gonna tell on myself. But, no, like, it was a difference of knowing, like, in high school, it was the be home by so-and-so time. Like, call me once you get here. Like, which, I mean, I still do that, but I choose to do that, so it's not so my mama has to ask me, like, oh, where you was at? Like, we don't even have conversations like that, like, where I feel like I'm going to get in trouble just for telling my mama, oh, yeah, I went out to this venue, or I went to the park. So, I don't have to, constantly check in. What's another freedom? I'm trying to think.
Or what's like the nightlife? Like
nightlife?
What you do at night? Like the parties, the sorority parties.
Okay, so let me clear that air real quick. A&T is not a party school. Now, do we have people who are party promoters that go to A&T? Yes, absolutely. So it's more party promoters. So it is a lot of different things to do at night in Greensboro. Then sometimes it's not. It's just the same old thing. Like it's just, it depends on your night. Like, we have homecoming coming up, so now that it's gonna be a whole week of festivities. Yeah. But other than that, the nightlife is pretty fun. Like, it's different stuff that you can find to do. Like, just even going downtown. Like, you can go downtown at night and really have a good time. Like, just seeing the different buildings that they have on their main street. The different parks, like, it's always something really to do, or like cultural buildings that you can go in and visit, like just see different artwork, vintage stores that you can go and like look at vintage clothing, old records. It's just a lot of different things to do, but the freedom, it is like I just can't describe it. Like, really, it's no real word that I could use that could explain the roller coaster of emotions that you feel of having like this newfound freedom. Like, it's really nobody else, standing over you telling you exactly every single thing you need to do. You have to have more discipline for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Do you currently have a roommate or had a roommate, and what is it like?
So I don't have a roommate right now. Like, I live by myself in a studio apartment, but it's through student housing, so pretty much only students or teachers and professors or faculty members live in my building, my apartment building. Other than that, I have had roommates and hit and a miss. It just depends. Like, my freshman year roommate, now me and her, like, that's my girl. Sophomore year, I got connected with my roommate, but both of us, since it was like COVID still, and we were doing like the hybrid classes, so most of our classes would be online, but then some would be in person. It just depends. So we pretty much were able to go back home. So we stayed home like, a good bit of the semester. So we weren't able to do a lot of stuff together that I would have liked. But other than that, like, that's still my friend. Like, I consider her a friend. Like, we can hang out, go somewhere. Or if we see each other on campus, we're gonna speak. Junior year, it was 2 roommates, but one of them was my friend, and then another one was a girl we just got randomly placed with, like somewhere in the housing portal stuff got messed up. And my other friend that we were supposed to room with, she ended up getting moved into like the apartment across from us. And that experience with a roommate that you don't really know and you try to get to know, it just don't work. You can't make everybody, connect the way you would like, and that's one thing you have to kind of deal with, because freshman year I was nervous. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if my roommate don't like me? What if we get into fights about who can have this space and that space? But it really did. We were able to coexist in the same, environment, and it was good. But it just depends on the person. But I also wouldn't recommend always rooming with your friends, because you don't want to get tired of seeing that person. Because it's like, all right, girl, I done seen you yesterday, today, last night. You were just in my room. We was all up talking, watching TV. Okay, I'm tired of seeing you now. I love you, but I need this little bit of space.
Okay.
So yeah.
How was it trying to get to classes special, like your freshman year? You didn't really know?
Freshman year, honestly, for me, it really wasn't bad getting to classes. It was just my time and knowing how to walk from my dorm all the way to the other side of campus where my classes were, because A&T is a huge campus, but if you're a fast walker, oh, you can make it. And so I am a fast walker, so I knew how to time myself to know, like, okay, it takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to get from south side of campus all the way to the north side, or whatever side that I need to get to for my classes. But of course, since the pandemic, the school has allowed freshmen, well, underclassmen in general, to have their cars. See, like my freshman year, I couldn't have my car. So it was like I had to walk or take the shuttle, take the bus. And that was a very humbling experience because it was so different. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I'm used to riding the school bus, but this is public transportation. Like, I could be on here with a lady who finna clock in at the hospital. Like, you know, it's not always guaranteed this is somebody going to school as well. But now, especially with limited parking, sometimes my classes might not see me, and that's just the truth, because I have driven around around campus 4 or 5 times just to find a parking spot, and baby, gas too high. So
for real. What makes A&T's campus different from most colleges?
It's just the overall environment and experience that you get. Like, when you step onto A&T, you're not the minority. You're not the only person who grew up in a marginalized group. Like, here, everybody is making a name for themselves. Like, the person you might be in the elevator with is finna be the next Bill Gates in years, and you just don't know it. So that, it's just a surreal feeling when you, I think that's what makes A&T, like, it's just, we're the illustrious. Can't nobody do it better.
How do you make money on, like, are there any ways, side hustles to make money on campus?
Oh, absolutely. It all depends if you tap into your talents or who you know. Because freshman year, that was something. Like, we had different people you could go to. Like, you had a girl on the first floor who did hair, so you could go, you know, hey, you can do my hair for this, I'll give you this. It was like trade-offs. So I would do something for you if you could do this for me. Or, hey, I got the money, so I'm going to pay you for it. So you can always tap into hair, nails, graphic designing, because a lot of people on campus, pretty much if you're running for a position or if you need to build a website, maybe help to make your resume stand out, you can always go to somebody who's in graphic designing to hook you up. Like, you know, talk to them and be like, hey, can you make this website for me, or can you make this look like this? I need to have a logo for my brand. So it's a whole bunch of things that you can do to get a side hustle. Even if you want to make some food, like, you know, sell plates, like, it's a lot of stuff you can tap into.
Okay. How do you keep party life and school life separate? Like, you might go to a party and then still have to wait up for class.
That really comes into the discipline and time management. So, like, if I know, which I'm the type of person, if we're going to go out, you got to tell me, like, 3 weeks ahead of time, because it's going to take a sister some time to prepare to go out, because I got to put myself in that mode. I'm going to be around a lot of people. Ain't no telling what we're going to do, but anyways, so I would say if you know you have like a consistent schedule, so if you have homework always due on Sunday nights at 11:59, then pretty much tap into it earlier in the week. So, like, okay, if I get out of class at 12, from 12 until, you know, it's time for me to go to bed, or if I have another class or a meeting, I'm just going to be doing homework for this class. So it's pretty much just time management. So you got to put, let me do this. I'm going to take 3 hours to do this, you know, this class. I'm going to do the work for that class. Then in the next day, I'll do work for that class. So that's pretty much the only way I can give advice on how to separate the party life from the school life. Just knowing when your stuff is due. Because I have been in the club and got that Blackboard notification that I forgot I had to turn that homework in at 11:59, but I'm still partying, but I'm being sad on the inside that I didn't turn that in. But
what made you pick A&T? Like, what stood out to you about A&T?
Honestly, I knew I wanted to go to HBCU since middle school. What stood out to me about A&T, well, one, they had like a really good psychology program, so that's what I knew I wanted to study. So I'm like, okay, they're pretty much the #1 HBCU that has a great, psychology program, so I'm gonna tap into that. Two, I think it was just because at the time, I felt like A&T was underrepresented too. So it was like, I've heard of it, but how many other
People
have? So it was like, that kind of stood out for me too. It was like, I kind of want to go someplace that's new. Like, I don't want to go somewhere that I'm familiar with. Like, I want to go to the city because I grew up in the country. So it's like, let me do that. And plus, I just really wanted to feel comfortable being in an environment with people that look like me. So, yeah.
What are some good, restaurants around campus?
Around campus? Honestly, on the side of Greensboro that A&T is on, it's not really that many restaurants. Like, we have a lot of fast food places nearby, which, yeah. So, but you can drive maybe about the most 10, 15 minutes to the other side of Greensboro, and it's a lot of more fine dining and stuff. Downtown really has some good places, but it's just no parking unless you want to pay. Other than that, really, fast food is about the closest thing on around that campus. But if you go to closer to UNCG, it's some better options over there. Yeah.
What is the surrounding city like? Like, I know you talked about downtown and what are some things to do? Like, what is it at night?
At night. So downtown always has something going on. I'm always volunteering downtown too. They have different festivals, like Food Truck Festival, Folk Festival. Pride, it's a lot of things that you can do downtown. Like I said, it's a lot of bars, different. I know it's a pottery class you can take downtown too. So it's really looking it up or calling around. Just walking downtown, you're gonna find something to do. It's really no specific thing. You're gonna always find something.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That's all the time we have for today. If you have any comments or suggestions, contact us at learn.tv@lcsd.k12.sc.us. You can see our content on vimeo.com/LearnTV or Comporium Cable Channel 114. I want to once again thank all our guests for being on the show. I'm Denari Belton, and thank you for watching Dream Big, Dream College.